I'm going to do is Pterygopalatine fossa, and it is pyramidal in shape, and as you can see it is marked by red line. This hole is the Pterygopalatine fossa. Now I'm going to do the boundaries. There are actually 6 boundaries of Pterygopalatine: anterior boundary, posterior boundary, superior boundary, inferior, and there is also median and lateral boundaries. Now we are doing some bones so that we can hang our boundaries, how to learn them. So first is the maxilla, this pink one, then we have this orbit, and this is this zygomatic, and here it is this sphenoid bone. This hole is the sphenoid bone, this is the greater ring, it is the pterygoid process, and this is the body of sphenoid, and the blue one is the palatine bone. This is the pyramidal process of palatine bone, and this is the perpendicular plate of palatine. So the boundaries are actually anteriorly we have the posterior surface of maxilla. This is maxilla, this is the anterior boundary. We can mark the anterior boundary by hank of orbit. So anterior boundary is like it is lying close to the maxilla, and it is by the posterior surface of the maxilla. The posterior boundary is by the pterygoid process of sphenoid. This is the pterygoid, and a little bit by the greater wing of sphenoid. And the superior boundary is by the sphenoid bone, and inferior is, this is the, as you can see, this is the pyramid, this is a pyramidal in shape. This is the pyramidal process of palatine. So anteriorly we have maxilla, posteriorly the pterygoid process, superiorly the sphenoid, and anteriorly there is the pyramidal process of the palatine. So next two boundaries are we are done with anterior, posterior, superior, and inferior. Now the median and lateral boundaries. As you can see, median boundary is lying on the inside, and this is by the perpendicular. This blue one is the perpendicular plate of palatine. So median boundary is by the perpendicular plate of palatine, and lateral is actually this red line is showing a fissure, that is pterygomaxillary fissure. So the lateral boundary is actually pterygomaxillary fissure, and as inside this pterygomaxillary fissure, there is the pterygopalatine fossa. So these are actually 6 boundaries: anterior, posterior, superior, inferior, median, and lateral. Median is by the perpendicular plate of palatine, and lateral by the pterygomaxillary fissure. And this pterygomaxillary fissure then communicate with infratemporal fossa. As below it there will be fossa, as zygomatic arch comes here, and then there comes the infratemporal fossa. So this pterygomaxillary fissure communicate with the infratemporal fossa. Now we are done with boundaries. Now we are going to do some communications. So now I'm doing some communications. There are actually 5 communications of pterygopalatine fossa: the anterior communication, the posterior communication, inferior communication, and there is median communication and lateral communication. So first of all I'm going to do is in anterior communication. As I said earlier, that we can mark the anterior boundary by the orbit. So it communicates anteriorly through inferior orbital fissure, and then continue to the groove, then infraorbital canal, and then leads to infraorbital foramen that just lies below the orbit and opens into face. So it goes from fissure, like the communications from fissure to the groove, then infraorbital canal, and then infraorbital foramen, and then to the face. Now posterior communication, how it is communicating posteriorly. So actually there are 3 communications posteriorly. The 2 communications are to the middle cranial fossa through the foramen rotundum and foramen lastricum, and 1 communication is to the pharynx through the pharyngeal canal. So foramen rotundum, it leads to the middle cranial fossa, and pharyngeal canal also leads to pharynx, and the pterygoid canal. The third one is pterygoid canal that through the foramen rostrum communicate to the middle cranial fossa. So these are the posterior communication: foramen rotundum, pterygoid canal, and pharyngeal canal. Anterior communications and posterior. Now the medial and lateral communications. So medially we have the sphenopalatine foramen. Medially we have the, as we discussed that medially there is palatine bone. So medially we have sphenopalatine foramen that communicates to the nose and opens into the mucus of nasal cavity. So medially we have the sphenopalatine foramen, and laterally we said that there is pterygomaxillary fissure. The one in red line was pterygomaxillary fissure. This one, it communicates with infratemporal fossa. So we are done with anterior communication, posterior, medial, lateral. Now inferior communications. As I said, inferiorly we have the pyramidal process of palatine. And in this pyramidal process of palatine, actually there are two canals lying here, as you can see it. This is the pyramidal process of palatine, and there are two canals. This one, this is the greater canal. These are lesser canals. Lesser greater palatine canal, and this is the lesser palatine canal. So inferiorly, it communicates through lesser palatine canal to the soft palate. Okay, and through the lesser palatine canal to the soft palate, and to the greater palatine canal to the hard palate. So we are done with communications and boundaries.